You're listening to Project 35, a project that I'll be interviewing 35 women coming from different countries and backgrounds. So let's listen to their stories and cheer them on their own unique journey. And I hope you will enjoy it as much as I do. Hi, Silvia. How are you doing today?
Hello, Tiff.
Hello.
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm doing great as well. And first of all, thank you so much for being a part of Project 35. This is a pretty new idea that came to me last 2 months ago. And when it first came into my mind, the very first person that I wanted to be a part of this is you. You're such an amazing, inspiring person, and I'm sure that a lot of audience wanted to hear more about you as well. So, just a quick brief introduction about Silvia. She has been in corporate world for more than 20 years, but not too long ago, she started to make a huge change and stepping into healing, emotional healing aspect, and also founded her own practice and her own studio. So, Silvia, well, maybe would you like to, introduce a little more about yourself so that people can get to know you better as well?
Okay, sure. And before that, yeah, big thanks as well, Tiff, for inviting me. I'm not sure if my story is any inspiring, but uh, but let's just share, right? Sometimes I feel that after being doing healing works for a couple of years now, every time my clients share their story with me, I feel wow, actually I'm not alone.
Mm,
And when, one of the biggest consolation is when you realize you're not alone in this world facing certain of the emotional challenges, right? Or even some
mm,
of the life situations.
mm.
Well, at least you feel more comforted. That it's yeah, that there are similar people out there who has gone through the same journey. So yeah, I wonder, I'm curious, whoever is listening or watching this channel, if the story sounds familiar, would love to hear from you as well. Let's share. And I want to congratulate Tiff as well. I remembered our whole journey together, from not such a good space to this whole transformation. Congratulations that you have now also had your own inspiring story. You made your own
Thank
change,
you.
switch from corporate space to a health coach, and now this project 35. So I really hope you have included yourself as one of these 35 stories.
Yes, yes, I'll love to. I'll love to. Yes.
Yes. So yeah, so what was the question about how I transited from corporate space to healing space?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Because fast forward a bit back time, I first know you somewhere, I think in June 2018. When I wanted to apply in the position in the company that you was working, normally I'll always doing my research, my homework, what is the company, who is the hiring manager.
Uh-huh.
And when I know that you are the hiring manager, I was asking one of the lady who got a chance to work with you before, and she has a lot of great words for you. And one of the things that she mentioned with me about you is that you had made a huge changes. Prior to that, you have become a new Silvia. You wear in a new identity, a lot more softer and also a lot more empathetic towards people and also towards the
Oh
way you
dear.
manage your work. Yeah. So I wonder, how does all
Okay.
of that changes take place, and maybe you can walk us through a little bit more about your journey back then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I find out who is she? You can.
Yes, yes, I will message her names later.
Okay. Yeah. So I hope it's not that I was really very fierce and
No, no, no,
non-empathetic last time.
no, no. It's not that. It's not that.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it coincided where so yeah, basically I've been in the corporate space for 20 years, and I guess through that you guys can guess my age. So I really started working nonstop since I graduated until, yeah, just 20 years just fly by. And I guess when I was working in the company that we were both working in, it was almost really at the point in time where the existential question became louder and louder, right? It's no longer just about pursuing material success, right? Like a career, like financial independence. I guess at this point in life where you have already come to certain accomplishment, right? Materialistically, especially in terms of career, you start to ponder, right? I mean, is there a meaning beyond all these busyness, right? Is there meaning beyond all these chasing after the sales number every day?
Mm,
Uh, yeah, so I guess that was really the time where I started to explore and went deeper into spiritual learning, right? I really wanted to understand what's happening to not just my body
mm,
since we are aging, but more importantly, what's exactly happening in my mind and what is this thing called soul,
mm,
spirit, right? I mean, all my life since education, no one taught us about that. We know so much about the external world, the economy, how to speak well, how to have self-confidence, esteem, how to communicate, how to present, but no one ever teach us about what is happiness and how it's related to something that is invisible, which is the spiritual aspect of yourself. Yeah, so that is the soul searching journey that got me started. And I guess that transformation got a lot to do with this, when I stop going outward but start going inward into myself to rediscover myself. And as the saying goes, right, if you want to change your relationship with others, the first thing is to change the relationship you have with yourself. So I guess this friend that we have, the very stressful Silvia, she used to see was the relationship I have with myself as well. For the
mm,
longest time, yeah, I'm very self-critical. I'm self-demanding. I self-driven. The pressure doesn't have to come from outside. I push myself
mm,
very hard, right? As if
mm,
failure is not going to, it's a no-no, right? There's no
mm,
such thing as failure in my vocabulary. That's how I
mm.
live my life, with a lot of seriousness and expectation. Yeah, I don't realize that, right? Because I've been
Mhm,
living that for so
mhm.
long. Yeah,
I
so I
see.
guess once you have that relationship with yourself where you push yourself so much and you are always dissatisfied with yourself,
Mm, mhm,
you subconsciously project outwards, right? Especially if you're a manager, right? You have a lot of
mm,
expectation about how
mm.
everyone else should work hard and behave, self-driven and all that. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, but I think it really comes to a point that I burn myself out, right? It's not just the
Mm,
the work stress, but internally, I don't know. I was just like keep trying to chase after something,
mm,
but I don't know what is
mm.
it, and I
Yes.
guess that, yeah. So once I start going inwards, I think the first thing that I learn is about self-compassion,
Mm,
which never ever occurred to me. Like I was compassionate to everyone, I to me I
mm,
embrace kindness, but I didn't
mm,
realize that actually I'm not kind to myself. How am I able to do that authentically to others? So I
mm,
guess that was a turning point where I started to shift my perspective and expectations of
mm,
others, and then I become
mhm,
more embracing and open-minded and patient. But of course,
mm,
I didn't change overnight, and it's impossible to change overnight. I'm sure that old
mm.
Sylvia is still there. But somehow, yeah, I like, the word, like, I've softened
I
myself
see.
up a bit.
Yes. Yeah. I love what you have just shared, especially you mentioned about your journey of soul searching and you stopped going outward rather than going inward. So I think that might be there's some listener who listening to this conversation might be wondering what does it mean by going inward. Is there a practice, like if they wanted to go inward, how, what, where are they supposed to start, what are they supposed to do? Do you have any tips, or would you like to share a little bit more, like how does going inward means to you
Mm,
and how does it happen? Yeah.
mm, yeah, fantastic.
Mm.
Actually, that is also something I love to share nowadays. So thanks for giving
Mm.
me this platform. I So I feel that has to backtrack like 8, 9 years when I first started this soul searching journey, right?
Mm.
I was really at the darkest point of my life too. I was really
Mm.
stuck in my own rabbit hole already. Despite on the outside, I have everything. I was living in different countries all the time. I fly every month. I go for exotic vacation. I go for solo trips. I love jazz. I was really living a high life that most people would think or visualize that it's pretty cool, this girl, like, but on the inside, so on the outside it was all going upwards, but on the inside it was all spiraling downwards. It's really
Mm.
totally opposite direction. Yeah. So I didn't know at that time it was depression, because I don't even know what depression is. Yeah, so I think some of the symptoms that I look back many years now that I'm a healer myself, and I look back at those symptoms, it's, I will be tearing up without reasons, right? So at work, I'm like a dragon, right? The Chinese will say, at work I'm a dragon, and when I come back from work, I'm like a worm, 一条龙，一条虫, right? So when once work is over, I have this sudden change in loss of adrenaline. I just spiral down into, like, I feel so empty, and I tear up, and I just there's no joy every day. It's just unhappiness. Yeah, so it's becoming a quite a toxic relationship within myself. And of course, when you start having those toxic emotions within you, and bear in mind at that time I was living alone abroad.
Mm.
So you can't confide in your colleagues, right? You have a image to uphold. You can't be uh and yeah, I don't have much friends to share, especially friends who are into emotions and spiritual healing and all that, right? Not many. So yeah, so everything was cooped up, and the only thing you can do is what you go into a kind of lifestyle that is not so healthy, right? You indulge in alcohol and nightlife and all that, just to keep your busy mind busier, so you don't think of it. So I think that was really the time I snapped. I was thinking to myself, I cannot
Mm.
continue like this anymore. Yeah, I cannot continue like this anymore. And I decided to wake up one day and then decided, I really have to do something about it. And that's where, when you have that wish, ask and it shall be given, because your universe or God, does hear. It's like, okay, you ready? You ready? So that's where the universe opened the door for me. And just now your question was, if someone wants to really go inward, where do you begin? Well, for me, my journey began in understanding energy, because everything we
Mm.
have taught in life is tangible, right? I mean, we are very used to understanding anything like physics, chemistry, so like anything that can be explainable, visible, economics, business, but no one has taught us about things that are invisible but around us, and that one thing is vibrational energy. And that was a really cute insight. So in a concept. So I started with learning about crystals. I mean, I'm in love with crystals. They're beautiful, beautiful uh, tools that I feel the universe have given us, and they
Mm.
really vibrate with different energy to heal different aspects of your imbalances. Of course, at
Mm.
that time, I have no clue. It's like I can be holding a crystal in my hand. I can't feel anything. I was like,
Mm.
I can't feel anything. It's like a stone, just like any stone. Yeah. So I feel that if you're someone who really can relate to all these kind of more new age ideas of vibrational energy, I think this is where you can explore. Okay. I also start to learn Reiki, where you use your
Mm.
hand, the vibrational energy emitted from your hand um to to heal, right? The
Mm.
imbalance could be stress, could be anger, could be depression, all kinds of imbalances, or even just exhaustion or pain or aches. Yeah. So I started to, I think that was my first step into the inner world, whereby,
Mm.
oh, you know, aside from the flesh and blood and bones that we understand
Mm.
ourselves, there's another huge component inside us, which is called vibrational energy, right?
Mm.
And it's like radio frequency, we are always transmitting all this energy inside us and outside us, right? And
Mm. Mm.
I guess a lot of people who would have tuned into your channel more or less will know things like law of attraction, right?
Mm.
What you think is what you attract, what you think is what you see, and all that. And it's all because of vibrational energy. And
Mm.
someone who's in depression or fear, or shame, in the energy vibrational behavior, is that it's vibrating really, really low, right? It's very intense, very dense and heavy. And then if you are more enlightened, you're joyful, you have gratitudes, you have clarity, that's where your energy, vibrational energy is much higher. Yeah. So that is really how I first step out of the material physical world that I used to know. I started, oh wow, there's a whole new world out there about myself and my friends and everything that's happening in my life. Another dimension I didn't know. And then eventually I'm a curious baby when it comes to spirituality. So, so from energy, I started to explore all kinds like angels, channeling, all these kind of new age aspect, numerology, astrology, just to get to know myself better from a non-textbook physical aspect, right? I wanted to understand what's going on inside me. And then I think out of the new age, the next step that was really a pivoting point in my life was when I got in touch with meditation and mindfulness. So at that point of time, I was really sourcing for all kinds of spiritual practice that can save me or help me figure out what's going on inside me that's like so turbulent and dark and unhappy. Yeah. And I stumbled on a 7-day silent retreat from a Zen center. And that changed my life. I mean, I've got no clue what meditation is or mindfulness or even Zen. I just went. I was like, I need to do something crazy, I just go, I just trust in the universe. So I went, and that's where I first heard about meditation. And that led me to, there's another element that I really got to know myself now, which is my mind. How does my mind work? Why is it that I cannot stop all those inner dialogues, self-sabotaging dialogues, right? The unhappy dialogues, the victimized dialogues. I can't control it. I don't know how. There's no button to switch.
Exactly.
So the next one was mine. So I feel that for those of you out there, if new age is not really your thing because it's a bit more woo-woo, we like to use the word, go for something more scientific, because mind and mindfulness and meditation is not something just like superstition or
Yes,
spiritual. It's actually proven by science today,
exactly.
right? So
Yes.
if you are someone who's more logical driven, you need facts, you need evidence. Go and study about mind and matters. The inner works of your mind, the subconscious part of your mind, the cognitive part, the emotional part, right? The lizard brain. Yeah. So that was the huge turning point where I realized now why I have all those busy thoughts, monkey mind, always. How can I better bring awareness to those voices? And then navigate through all those noisy voices, right? To come back to
Yes.
my inner peace.
Yeah.
Uh,
So,
so the last
yes.
part is actually what I'm doing now, and I realized that actually I'm only solving half the equation by knowing the mind. The other half of the equation is our heart, right? Because the thing is, there's noise there, but actually what's really making us suffer is our feelings, right? You
Exactly.
can't shake off that anger, you can't shake off that fear, you can't shake off that shame,
Yes.
and something that I don't know why I have to cling on to them, and I don't know how to shake them off. And that's where actually it's my third big turning point when I started to learn about emotional well-being,
Yes.
emotional nature, and of course emotional decoding, which is a practice, a holistic healing works that I'm doing right now for my clients, using your subconscious mind, your muscle, to decode, some of the
Yes.
emotional baggage that is, holding
Yes.
on to. And that's why
Yes.
I started Shan Living,
Yes.
because it's helped me so much.
Exactly. Yeah. And I still remember, I think about 1.5 years ago, when I was in one of my darkest moments, I was facing depressions, and whatever you mentioned is really resonate with me a lot, because I still remember the days when I was looking into my working calendar. but the screen started to blur and tears started to roll down my
Mm.
cheeks. And I was just like, I have so many things. I have a house, I have a beautiful daughter, I have an amazing job. What am I asking for? What is missing in my life? And like you mentioned, a lot of inner chatter, a lot of why. And then meditation was something I turned into, like going inwards, connect with my emotion, my feelings, rather than asking for help,
Mm.
seeking for validation from other. And another thing that's really helped me tremendously is attending the session with you, emotional quotes. And during that session, it was I have to say it's a life-changing experience for me. What you have mentioned at the end of the session still stay with me until now, and it's helped me to pull myself out of that darkest moment and be able to stand on my feet and be myself again today. And I know Shan Living is your baby as well. And maybe you can also share with me more, your stories about Shan Living, and also your, practice in terms of emotional healings with your clients as well. Like, how does it been so far for you? Yeah.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Mm,
Yeah, I think that journey of going inwards, the most important part is uh, not just about discovering the purpose of your life or who you are, like your identity.
mm,
I think the biggest, most impactful change, turning point is knowing what has been holding me back.
mm,
Okay, and I feel, and I not just feel, I believe that all of us, if you feel
mm,
that you're still not completely living the true you, the authentic side of you, it's
mm,
because something is still holding you back.
mm,
And it is actually memories, and it's not just memories of an experience, but the emotions that are attached to that memory, right?
mm,
And it was through this emotion decoding that I realized that all my life,
mm,
all these self-critique, self-expectation, and then the unhappiness and this wild side of me that always want to go out and take risk and like run away from something. I forever in my life I'm escaping, right? That's like I
mm,
don't know what I'm running away from. And while I'm running, I don't know what I'm chasing after, right? So
mm,
I'm forever in that catch 22. I'm running away from something and I don't know what I'm running towards to. So I mean, this is really theoretical, but in a sense that if you reflect on your life, it actually um manifested into how I have my romantic relationships, right? I will always be attracting relationships that I want to run away. It's so funny, right? Or attracting relationships that I wanted something better, there's something I want. So it's never happy, right? It's always a very difficult relationship that is not aligned. It's always about, yeah, manifesting more of the emotional pain. And then same thing for work wise, right? All this emotional baggage that you carry inside you. It could be guilt, it could be shame, it could be sense of vulnerability, or even one thing very important, feeling unworthy, worthless, right? You don't feel you are that great or you deserve something well. You can project it into your workplace, your work, where you always feel that your boss don't recognize you. You have to work super hard, but still yet, you don't get the kind of promotion you need, but you see the other colleague is like, why is it that he's having everything when he's just chilling, so there's always all these toxic things just happening, right? And it's all because of these emotional memories that you're still carrying. And a lot of us, it goes all the way back to our childhood, right? So when I was really studying up on why I have all these difficult emotions in me, I'm always so angry. And I don't know what I'm angry about, and all my life from young until old, I'm always angry about life, about myself, about others. And when I start doing this emotion healing, and learning about emotion decoding, I realized that, oh, it was a memory I had carried forward from my childhood days. My family is really full of dramas when we were young, and there are lots of financial issues, lots of uh, relationship issues. Like it's a big family, super complicated. Yeah, there's just drama, like a Hong Kong drama series. Right? Um, so from and for young mind, and that's why for all of you out there, right, who has your little ones, just really make sure that, realize that the younger the mind, the more difficult and disempowered they are to know what to decipher, right? They're like a sponge. They absorb all that they see, and they hold that feeling inside them, and they make it into theirs, right? So when I was really young, subconsciously, I was really learning. The first emotion that I learned was anger. I was angry, right, with what's happening around me. Why are they always quarreling? Why we always have no money? We have to worry about paying bills. Yeah, and then you start feeling ashamed, right? How come, when I see my classmates like this, you start feeling shame. And then the third thing that start coming in, even if you're a kid, you will also feel unworthy. So maybe I'm not good. That's why God, made me like this. That's why my life is like this. And then as you grow up bit by bit, you forgot about this experience, but actually it's still staying inside you, and you have been living it. Yeah. So the thing about emotion healing, why it was so life-changing to me, is I finally realized that I was carrying that inner child wound inside me, and the only way to liberate is to shine a light on it. So shine on light on it, meaning knowing what specific emotions I'm carrying. And then I realized, wow, it's really deep. It's fear, right? Because when you're young, you need protection and safety, but the space is not safe, right? There's always fighting and quarreling. And there's a lot of shame, right? Because I feel it's my fault, right? Yeah, and vulnerability, right? So you grow up as a fighter, right? Either you grow up like a victim, and or you grow up as a fighter. Everything you're becoming very defensive and offensive. Yeah. So that's why I've been so self-critical and towards others as well. Yes.
Mm,
So I guess that is really where everyone needs to kickstart. When you want to go
mm,
inside, it's not just to understand your mind, what you're thinking, your purpose, who you are, but you have to first detox, knowing the
mm,
toxic that you have been carrying inside you, so that you can
mm-hmm.
purge it out. Then you can
Yeah.
start realizing that, oh, my purpose is to serve in the healing space, then do that,
Mm,
right? Or my purpose is
mm,
to, yeah, even it doesn't have to be just all healing works. You could be a
mm,
businessman, a successful businessman, and you create job opportunities for people, right? Or
mm,
invent a technology. Yeah. It
mm,
could be all kinds of purpose. But before you can reach there, knowing what you love or what your purpose is, you
mm.
have to first, yeah, remove and heal, remove
I
all the
see.
emotional baggage and heal,
Yeah,
right?
I see. Yeah. So
Hope,
you
hope that
mentioned,
makes sense.
yeah, so you mentioned that, sometimes you have to face your inner, all of these toxic, very negative emotions. So from a healer perspective, when you're holding space for your clients to share a lot of these emotion, and sometimes it can be really heavy, what did you do to actually protect your energy and your emotion? And I guess it's also relevant for people around, is that sometimes when you are in a relationship with your family members, your colleagues, and so on, a lot of time you have to face negative emotion. How actually you can create a healthy boundary to also, reserve and protect your emotion and your energy as well. So how did you do that?
Mm.
Mm,
So again, I feel it's twofold, right? One is knowing yourself first, right? Knowing your own emotional nature. Yeah. And I don't know if you still remember, there was a workshop I talked about 4 characteristics. So some of
yeah,
us are like sponge, a SpongeBob, right?
sponge. Mm,
So we absorb other people's. We are we call it empath, right? Emotional empath. We are super super sensitive. We feel. Our whole life is led by feelings. And it goes both ways. We feel for people easily. Everything we get emotional, and we absorb, right? So if you belong to this type, you really need to know what is your emotion and what is other people's emotion, right? And some are very fragile, like a wine glass. You're hurt very easily. Even just one word, like they didn't even mean it. You get sad the rest of the day of over a week. Yeah. So and those roller coaster ride, right? There are those also, like, wow, you can be wake up happy and joyful, and next thing, somehow boom, you become gloomy and moody. And then after lunch, you something excited you happy again. Then after work, boom, you become depressed again. So every day you're going through. So you really have to empower yourself by knowing what kind of emotional personality you have. Okay, it's another kind of personality, all right? Emotions, right? Another person is like, are you logical thinking or are you intuitive? But emotion is really important. And I feel there's not enough awareness today in the world to teach everyone that you need to know what kind of emotional personality you have. Okay, because the more you understand, you have to first understand, then you know how to navigate through, right? I don't like to use the word
So
control
true.
because usually it becomes suppressing, but I say navigate through, right?
So true.
Uh, so so that's the first fold, which is understanding your own. And then of course the second fold is that's why mindfulness and meditation is so powerful, because you need to develop the skills of being mindful to the dialogues in your head, the feelings that are radiating from your heart. And then after that is your subconscious movement, actions, choices. It's like don't live blindly. The biggest enemy here is actually inside you. Don't keep your eyes outside, keep it inside. Yeah. So yeah, and that's how, like you say, like as a healer, how do I create safe space, not just for my client, but also for myself, right? Since every day everyone is sharing a lot of their difficult stories to me, right? And I'm an empath. And it's only really until these last few years that I realized that, no wonder I'm so, sometimes, I feel so ups and downs all the time. And it's because I've been absorbing people's emotions at work, at home, and so now that I know this is my personality, I will always check in. If suddenly I feel that there's no reason, but I don't know why today I just feel so low and moody, so sad. I start to bring that awareness and I check, oh, maybe yesterday, is it because of that session? Something is still lingering inside me. Yeah. So the awareness, yeah, it's a way to help me be able to, yeah, create that segregation, because I can stop it in time. I can decipher what's mine, what's others. And then, of course, to me, actually, I don't know if you are designated to be a healer or in the healing works, somehow you have that DNA or nature in you that you're not affected. Very strange. I don't know. I was worried about this too. I was like, oh, how am I going to deal with it? Every day I'm going to hear about someone's problem. At work, I can't, my friends tell me I can't, but somehow when I put on my healer cap, that problem doesn't exist. Somehow I was able, and and on the contrary, it was healing to me because I was able to help someone else come out of that darkness, but at the same time inspire me my own healing as well. Like I'm not alone, and then by giving advice and my insights to that person, it's also like me telling myself. Yeah, so it's a very interesting, positive exchange of energy when we are doing all these healing works. And of course, before my session, one thing very, very important, and I always remind my client is one word: intention. Everything, right? Not just healing works, actually everything in life, you have to start by defining your intention. So before our session, we set our intention clearly by verbalizing it, right? We do our meditation, and let's anchor our intention today on discovery, right? That is going to be insightful and helpful for us to navigate out of our adversity, right? So in this way, you're already creating a safe space, right? If your intention is, oh, I want to know if I'm going to marry that guy, if I'm going to strike a lottery, then of course, right, you're going to invite a lot of unnecessary influences of energy around you, right? But your intention is on healing because I want to be a better self. I want to be happier, healthier. Yeah, and that itself helps. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. I've really learned a lot through all of the sharing that you have mentioned. And I just happened to read a book yesterday, and it say that, in life, don't just focus on being successful, but focus on adding more value to the world. And I believe that whatever you're doing now really add a lot of value to the world and helping people around you. And before I let you go, is there any one last word that you wanted to share with the audience today, and especially to the women who listen to our conversation? What is one last thing that you would love to share with us? Yeah.
Wow, many last words. But I think ultimately, I mean, I didn't get to talk a lot more about the behind the scenes. I mean, what you've seen me today, the transformation, the whole journey seems like, I basically said it in 30 minutes, but behind there's a lot of work involved, right? It's not like if today you want to change, you want me to be happy, you found yourself, and the next day that's it, the dream will come true. It will still be a process, a journey. There will still be a lot of fear from this change. I mean, for me to let go of that corporate identity, professional identity, in someone who talks about advertising technology, to come into the space and claiming myself that, oh, I'm a spiritual healer, I'm an emotional therapist. That is in itself something that I have to overcome a lot first. I have to convince myself, I have to prove to myself that it is really validate, right? It's really my purpose, the direction I can go, because it is what is meant for me to serve. I mean, all these experiences I have must have served the purpose, right? All these difficult experiences. And today I realized that without those footsteps and journey, I wouldn't be able to be empathetic towards my clients when I hear their stories. So that is the change. Firstly, is like knowing, embracing, this discomfort, because you have to step out of your comfort zone. Even suffering is a comfort zone if you're so used to it, right? To step out of it and say that I'm from today onwards, I'm going to be an optimistic and happy person. So that change is a very difficult and can be very demoralizing journey, because sometimes you don't see immediate effect, right? It's not like slimming pill. Next day you see you lost 1 kg. You maybe you will still not be happy for the next 1 week, 1 month, or 1 year. You will still attract a lot of difficulties, difficult people, toxic relationships into your life. But the difference is that you now have awareness and you have empowerment, right? But you have to keep reminding yourself it is a journey. And so one word, if you want to remember today, starts with P, which is patience. Patience is like the biggest virtue in life. And okay, like second word is gratitude. So how I survived through all these ups and downs and tests, to like really questioning myself, are you sure, you should do this leap, like abandoning your comfort zone in the corporate space into something that you don't even know you built for it, or how you're going to survive on it. I think it's gratitude. I was just grateful enough that I was able to have that awareness, and I found my direction. The next step is about how do I walk that talk, or really go through the entire transformation. So gratitude that I am today. See, I have the opportunity to be like, wow, in Tiffany's channel. How amazing, meet amazing friends. I've never felt that much joy in my life, compared to maybe getting 100K budget from my past life and from an advertiser, to like completing a session, and like I see my client glow, with hope again. It's unmeasurable. I'm grateful that I'm healthy, I'm well again, I'm given all this second chance opportunity to serve, to live, to reset my life. Yeah, so the gratitude keeps me going, right? I have to count the blessings. And the patience is that I'll tell myself, one day at a time, one day at a time, or even one breath at a time, or one moment at a time, don't worry. I know I'm gonna fall, I'm gonna still cry, but one day at a time. So yeah, so I guess this is my takeaway for anyone who's tuning in to Tiff's Project 35, that you are going through your own journey and story, I'm sure, right now. But when things get really, really tough, just remember these two things, right? Patience and gratitude, one day at a time.